I'm in an interesting position. I ran into Ariel Helwani, who I like and who I respect. Okay, let's back up. I'm going to bring Ariel into this, but let me take a step backwards. I'm in Dallas right now. Earlier in the week, I was in my studio, Westland, Oregon. I made a piece on Jiří Procházka. And I basically gave Jiří a threat. And the threat was, you or your team has one day, 24 hours, to contact me. And you all know me, and you all know how to contact me. You have 24 hours to contact me. And tell me where I'm wrong in the assumption that you have an issue with USADA. Now, that assumption did not come scandalously or recklessly by me. The Jiří Procházka story is amongst the most fascinating in all of MMA, and nobody's talking about it. And I don't maintain that nobody's talking about it because it's not fascinating and I'm wrong and I'm looking in the wrong direction. I think something's interesting that you don't think is interesting. I don't maintain that. You can't make any money talking about Jiří Procházka. Believe me, I've tried. I can't get watch time. I can't get clicks. I can't get views. I can't get other people to pick it up. If I want to sit here and make money, I'll make you a piece on Conor McGregor, and then I'll make you a piece on George Masvidal, then I'll sail it in for the day and come back tomorrow and rinse and repeat. And I don't say that to put Jiří down. It's one of those things. I think that this entire injury, I think the entire comeback, I think the entire title fight, particularly if he is to get it, I think it's going to make him bigger than ever. And I know by the comments, as few as they are, but they're very passionate. They're very strong, and you guys like Jiří. And since Jiří has been gone, I also have a newfound respect for him, which I've shared with you. Conversations that I've had with guys that have competed with him, CB Dalloway, Mo Lawal, by example. So I feel that because I praise Jiří, it gives me the right, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's a human condition. Maybe it's a flaw. But I feel that you guys have the same flaw, and I do feel that I have the right to tell the story the way that it's happened, and the story does surprise me. And my timeline is accurate. Jiří Procházka was to defend his championship belt in a highly reluctantly rescheduled rematch against Glover Teixeira. It was amongst the most reluctant rematches that I've ever seen. But it was booked nonetheless on December 10th. Just prior to the match, somewhere in December, I mean, the match was December 10th. Somewhere in December, it gets reported that he hurt his shoulder. And that not only will he not be defending, that he's no longer UFC champion. Well, if you're not the champion, where in the hell do you go? If they take the belt off you and you haven't lost, where do you go? This isn't a riddle, guys. I'm asking you a question. We've never been in this spot. So where do you go? Does he go to 1? Does he go to 3? Does he go to 7? Where does he go? And any reasonable person is going to come to the conclusion that he goes gone completely. He's out of the rankings. They're signifying for you by taking the belt that he cannot do the sport. That's very sad. It's very tough stuff. But you don't fall from champion without a lot to the number 1 contender or to the number 2 guy or to the number 3. You're now removed. If you're removed, it would be responsible to remove you from the USADA pool. That's basic reasoning. This isn't Chael's rules. That's what they should have done. That's what I assumed was done. All of a sudden, January rolls around. 1 month. 1 month later, and according to social media, which has been nothing but honest by Jiří Procházka, he's the one that said, my shoulder's hurt, I'm giving the belt. I mean, everything that we have is from him, and it was all true. And he comes back in January, says, I'm going to be fighting soon. Making recovery. I'm in the gym. Misdiagnosis, miracle. Whatever you want to call it, this is what happened. And we keep hearing this, and we keep hearing this, and we keep hearing this. But the one thing we don't hear is of a date that he'll be competing. And it's very relevant because in that month of January, a new champion was crowned, named Jamal Hill. And whether Jamal suffered an injury on International Fight Week and was stripped or not, that was 6 or 7 months later, and Jamal had never been booked. Why was Jamal never booked? Why was nobody even calling him out? Why was there not even rumors of who Jamal's opponent was going to be? I don't have the answers to that. I'm making an observation to prove that my timeline is right. And if you want the behind the scenes, what the answer was is they believed Procházka was going to be coming back. So we'll just make Jamal versus Procházka. Okay, great. Well, can he come back? Because if the responsible thing was done, right, when you strip a guy and you say he can't do this, of course you would remove him from the pool. They would work simultaneously. For many different reasons, that would be a reasonable expectation. So if he was removed, for him to come back would be 6 months. When you're not hearing about it, you don't hear about it ever. The only person you ever hear about that is Conor McGregor, like it's some kind of magical rule for Conor. It's a rule for everybody, allegedly. There's another rule that USADA has, which is if you get flagged on an essay, that's what they call it. It means they got a test. Didn't go your way. But you want to protest that test. You either want to challenge the junk science that they use, you want to challenge chain of custody, you want to use the technicality, you want to prove a tainted substance, whatever it might be, but you want to go to arbitration and you want to duke it out with these guys, which, by the way, USADA, not for nothing, has proved to be very reasonable in those arbitrations. They have overturned a number. We were wrong. We had it wrong. A number of them. But that's relevant to know because it used to be when you got flagged by USADA, they would, right then, it would be posted. You'd be humiliated. Whatever sponsors you have are gone. And in the world that lives on the internet, those articles are going to live on forever. And there was a month where USADA flagged 4 guys. I can't remember. Junior Dos Santos, Little Nog, Josh Barnett, and there was somebody else. There was 4. All 4 protested it. All 4 won. USADA said, yeah, we got this wrong on all 4. But these guys lost their sponsorships. They lost their fights. They lost reputation. They lost face. It was very hard to get it back. And USADA agreed. This is a mistake. We need to remedy this. And what we're going to do moving forward is we're going to inform the athlete and only the athlete. If the athlete chooses to protest, we are going to keep the fact that we believe the failed test ever happened quiet until after arbitration. If he beats us, we will never reveal it. If we beat him, we'll reveal the whole thing. This is how they decided to do it. We were informed that Yuri was tested 20-some times in 20-some days. I change the number every time I tell the story, but it was like he was tested 22 times in 25 days. It was something that has never been heard of, and USADA will openly tell you, we will only test you that amount if we think you're using. We are going to have good reason to believe that you're gaming the system, and it's just a matter of time till we get you. I don't believe that about Yuri at all. I don't suggest that to you in the least. I'm telling you that they think it. And all of the while, you have a champion of the world who was stripped simultaneously while your heavyweight champion underwent double knee surgery dating back to February and still kept the belt. No talk of even an interim championship. And Yuri wasn't given 10 days. And all of a sudden it gets to be odd. And I brought that up. And he's never addressed it. And I feel as though he should shoot that down, or he should give an estimated date, or he should say what is next, or they should get on with it. I'm not coming at you trying to get into Yuri's business. I'm coming at you from a perspective of you have an entire locker room who has made great sacrifices since they were little kids with a dream of being champion, and the championship is being held up because they believe that would appear to be the rightful champion, which is Jiří Procházka, is coming back. That all sounds well and good, unless there's some red tape that we don't know about. And so I told Yuri, you got 24 hours. Here's the timeline. Here's what happened. They're very reasonable beliefs, very reasonable guesses as to why you, who's never lied to us, tells us on social media repeatedly you're ready to fight, and there's no fight ever even rumored or close to being booked. And they didn't get a hold of me. They got a hold of Ariel, and Ariel told me. And you know what? Ariel took their side. He said I was out of line. I don't know where. But I respect Ariel. I don't think I give Procházka a hard time. I'm the only guy talking about him. You won't find his name anywhere except his own social media, which is kind of limping along. And I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I'm not saying that to be a jerk at all. I'm telling the story the way it happened. 24-hour clock expired, but I'm taking it back. I'm not going with it. Not going the rumor, not going with the speculation. Hope he's back soon. Believe he was clean. Glad he beat the shoulder injury. That's all I got. Right? Am I trying to apologize? I don't think so. Maybe, though. I am trying to tell the story the way that it happened. If there's any gap in there or any misunderstanding, I asked that they reach out and tell me what it was so that I could come and tell you. My phone still hasn't rang.